Welcome back, everyone. I'm Mayor Mike, and we're here talking point. Today, I have the Executive Director of the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, Nick Hylla. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I thought it was a good idea because we're just coming off another energy fair,
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know exactly who MREA is and what MREA does, and they do a lot of cool things, not only in the community, but in the entire central Wisconsin area. So let's start out talking about what Midwest Renewable Energy Association does, where you're located, and how people can find out more.
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit organization. We really focus on education and demonstration around kind of mostly solar energy technology, but energy efficiency, everything, all renewable energy and energy efficiency. We've been around and located in central Wisconsin since 1990. We have about 17 staff, and we work in 7 Midwest states, and we are probably most known locally for hosting the Energy Fair, which you referenced. That has happened in June every year. And like you said, we just came off of an Energy Fair weekend and are fully recovered now. It was really fun. But we also do, we help municipalities, universities, schools, hospitals invest in solar energy. We do bulk purchasing of solar systems with homes and businesses, which we'll talk about. And then we're probably most known regionally for workforce training. We train over 800 individuals each year to design, install, operate, maintain solar and energy storage systems.
Yeah, and that's great. And honestly, you're short selling yourself a little bit because you do training for really anybody that wants it. I've taken some courses there. Yeah. You know, I don't know enough about how does solar work. Is it right for me? And you have opportunities through your courses and programming to have just someone come in and who just wants to know what solar is or what are some alternate energy sources that we might be able to utilize here in either my home or my business. How can people find out what courses are available?
Yes, our website's midwestrenew.org. And you're right, we have introductory courses and a lot for members. We're a member-based organization, $50 for a membership. And we have a lot of free stuff out there too. And it's important now because with solar, it may not be apparent to everyone, but solar has experienced the fastest price decline of any commodity in history over the last 10 years. And one of the interesting things, like from a municipal perspective, is some federal legislation that passed 2 years ago in the Biden administration, the Inflation Reduction Act, actually makes it so that like a municipality can get a 30% direct pay tax credit if you invest in a solar electric system. So for example, if you put a $100,000 solar electric system on a municipal building, you get a $30,000 check from the IRS. And so most homes and businesses, they have had access to this same tax credit. They still do today. And so now there's this whole growing market for solar, and so we get questions all the time about how do solar energy systems work, how much do they cost, how do they interconnect, what are the components, how do you finance them, how do you know what a good solar installer is, what's a site assessment, and all of that stuff is available through our online training. So you can do it on demand anytime, take our Intro Basic to Solar PV class and learn all about it. And like you said, we have resources about all different kinds of energy efficiency, renewable energy, including electric vehicles.
Yeah, and that is really cool. And you've got a lot of examples out at the Midwest Renewable Energy Association headquarters where people can see these things hands-on. What's the address again? So
I think we're about 5 or 7 miles east of Stevens Point on Route 10, so it's Deer Road in Custer, 75558 Deer Road. And you're right, we have a state-of-the-art demonstration campus. We were, as an example, we were the first location in the state of Wisconsin for a fast charger for electric vehicles. It's still operating, it's free, people are there all the time. One of the newest additions, 2 new additions, we have an energy storage demonstration center. So we have all kind of the latest and greatest home size energy storage, so basically batteries. And then, and I know Stevens Point just put up a solar pavilion. We have an outdoor classroom which is kind of a large, beautiful timber-framed solar pavilion that uses bifacial modules. So the sun kind of diffused light comes through there, and we work with a nonprofit, a foundation that is helping schools to install these all over the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned our two solar installs that we're just completing. I'd be remiss if I didn't brag about them a little bit.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
is
please.
at Saramer Park, which is right off of Clark Street. It's a great facility. We're enhancing the park since we took it over, and they created a pavilion there. And on top of the pavilion is solar. We put a solar array up there that's going to cover most of the electricity that's used for that facility. The other one is at Grachalski Park. Grachalski Park is off of, I think it's Riverview. Wow, some people know it as Double H. Brand new park. Joan donated a fair amount of land in honor of her husband who recently passed, with a few stipulations. And one of those was that she wanted a small parking area, a little pavilion to use, and then paths, keeping it mostly natural. The unique thing about that one, though, is at Saramer Park, the solar panels are on the roof, which is traditionally what people think of. With the one at Grachalski Park, the solar panels are the roof.
Yeah.
So the entire structure is a solar energy magnet. There's also no underground electricity or overhead utilities there, so that is going to provide the needed electricity for that facility. Plus, we're putting in a solar charger over there as well for electric vehicles. Now, someone says, well, who's going to park there and use it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't cost anything to not use it. But it's available for those who may want to use it. And those are two great locations in the city, as you know. A couple of years ago, we put up one of the largest solar arrays at the time up on our utility garage that is still functioning very well. And we went through MREA to assist us with all of that. So you are available not only to municipalities, but to residents, to businesses.
Yes.
And let's talk about the process a little bit. I am thinking about solar and wondering if it's right for me. How do I know if solar is even an option for my, let's say, home?
Well, I guess we can start by the programs that we operate to help homeowners and businesses do this. We do what we call Grow Solar programs. They're group purchase programs. We have one going on in central Wisconsin right now. And one of the things that I like to say, what we do is we partner with local jurisdictions, so we partner with Stevens Point on a number of these before, and we go out for a request for proposals for contractors to serve the program, and we set up an advisory committee to basically select the bid from whoever bids, and so one is always get multiple bids. That's what I say. I mean, you don't want to waste a contractor's time because most of the time they do these like a free site assessment, and it costs them money. But if you're serious, looking at with a couple contractors would be the first thing. Second is, the way that a solar electric system, whether you're a home and business, the way that it saves you money is that when the sun shines, it satisfies all your electricity needs first. And so first you have to be using electricity. If you're not using electricity or a substantial amount, then it probably won't work because you have to offset the electricity. That is how the relationship with the utility works through what's called net metering, is that you are offsetting your electricity use. So one of the first questions to ask is, how much electricity do I use? What time to use it? Will I be using more or less? Now there's a move towards electrification. So for example, there's been some innovations in heat pump technology, which is basically like a furnace that heats and cools, and they call them cold climate heat pumps. So if you are on a propane system or a natural gas system or an old electric system and you're going to upgrade to a heat pump, well, your electricity use is going to change. Also, people are buying electric vehicles. 9% of all vehicle sales in the United States are now electric vehicles. I drive an electric vehicle. And so if you're going to buy an electric vehicle, well, then your electricity use is going to change. So typically, we try to help a home or business right-size their investment in solar to their electricity use, because that's the financial right-sizing of a system. And then you have to have a space for it. So it's either going to go on the roof or, like you say, go in a beautiful canopy, or like a parking covering, or like in a ground-mounted situation. And that's done through a site assessment. So a company will come out and look at your home or business and figure out where it's sited and how much solar you can fit and how much you can use. And then finally, the reality is that happy customers make more solar customers, and the cheapest electricity on the grid is solar that I purchase for my house, because we're not paying the utility for it, we're not paying the returns that the utility gets for it, and we're producing it right where the electricity is used. So at the MREA, we promote energy efficiency in solar to save us all electricity prices in the future. And it makes you an investor in this utility system, right? You're hedging against future electric price increases. But happy solar customers make more. Unhappy customers make less. So typically, the best advice that I give is that if you're a person that has money to invest in something, if you're investing in a stock market or something like that, then you should be investing in solar. It returns as good or greater, and it's basically a hedge investment against future price increases. If you're strapped for cash, then probably not the best idea, right? Because it costs money, and there's probably other things that you can invest in. So through our public education programs, we help customers kind of walk through this decision making and make sure that solar is right for them.
Okay. Yeah, all great advice. I tell people often that the cheapest energy is the kilowatt you don't use.
Right.
And that's important too, from my understanding, is that, you go to my house today, it's not really electrified. I actually have a ton of smart devices in my house. I'm an IT geek. So I use power for everything. I'm cautious about how I do it and use smart switches and things like that. But you want to be able to reduce. If I put solar on my house right now and sized it for what I do, and then decided to make improvements to reduce my electrical consumption, you're oversized.
Right, yeah.
So I think that it'd be good advice at least to see what you would be willing to get rid of. Converting your natural gas stove to electric, or your refrigerator. Refrigerator's a bad one because they only do that in RVs, where they run off of propane or LP or whatever. But reducing the amount of energy that your home uses to a level you're comfortable with, and then getting your solar sized appropriately, because selling it back to the grid isn't really cost effective, is it?
Well, it is. I mean, the utility, so one misconception that's out there is like, oh, I'll get solar and disconnect from the grid. That's really not how most solar works. The solar interacts with the grid. It needs that grid signal to operate. And so, what happens is solar produces electricity at the times of the highest price electricity. We have a peak price of electricity that's in the middle of the day. That's when the sun shines. So you're avoiding purchasing high-priced electricity, especially if you're on dual rates. But in general, you're avoiding the utility producing or purchasing high-priced electricity. Interesting thing about energy efficiency and electrification, another thing that happened with the Inflation Reduction Act, federal legislation, we are, with the federal government is set to spend more on energy infrastructure over the next 10 years than we did in the previous 30. And a lot of it is directed at meters, people who are connected meters, homes and businesses, municipalities, university schools, hospitals. Wisconsin actually is the first state in the country to have this home electrification and energy efficiency program approved with federal dollars. Every single state got this formula funding. It's called the HOMES program and the HERE program, and they are direct incentives for people to be efficient and electrify, and we were the first state in the country to be approved. That program is active. Contractors are engaging that. The real opportunity with these programs is actually for people who are 150% of the area median income and below. And if you are at 100% area median income, you can get a fully subsidized energy efficiency intervention in your house and electrification for up to $14,000, 100% free. And so the federal government, looking at America's energy future and thinking about infrastructure, what you realize is that the biggest bang for the buck in reducing energy costs in communities is in people's homes. There are millions of homes in the United States that need energy efficiency upgrades, and now we actually have a federal program to do that. And the interesting thing about those programs called the HOMES program and the HERE program is that the state public benefits program focused on energy that already manages the rebates and incentives for high-efficiency boilers and high-efficiency windows and LED light bulbs and even solar. You get a $500 rebate from the state focused energy program with solar. They manage these new federal incentives also. So you're a contractor, whether they're a home performance contractor or a solar contractor, will know all about these incentives. And I guess that's kind of the last point I'll make is it's important that any consumer be empowered with information, right? That you understand how these systems work and what to expect. But when it comes to solar and energy efficiency, the contractors actually handle all of the benefits for you. They'll give you advice about the tax credit, they'll fill out the rebate forms, they'll do all of that for you. And so one really easy thing to do is just go and engage with a contractor and see what you qualify for.
Well, and we talked about that a little bit. Let's get into the meat and potatoes there, because there is a lot of information that I don't know, that the people watching and listening don't know. And it sounds good, but what does that mean for me? How can I best leverage those programs to benefit me, to reduce my energy costs overall, to help me reduce my energy consumption, to upgrade my house, make it more efficient, make it more valuable when it comes time to resell it, because these upgrades have already been made? You kind of boxed that up and put a neat little bow on it. I think the city's been participating in your bulk buy program since its inception, which I'm very proud of. And tell us what goes on there and how someone can find out more about your bulk buy program and how to get information.
Yeah, maybe we'll start just with some ground setting about kind of home performance. I use the term home performance because it's not just energy efficiency, right? It's like the comfort and longevity of your home. Take care of moisture issues, take care of all, like indoor air quality, energy efficiency. So we call it home performance. Those incentives in Wisconsin, every single one of us that's in like WPS territory, that's here, Wisconsin Public Service, that's the city, or Alliant Energy territory, every single one of us pays, every dollar we pay for electricity, 1.3 cents goes into this pot of money that the state spends on energy efficiency. If you think about it, it's the only competition we have in the system, because if electricity prices go up, that means there's more money in this pot to fund efficiency. And if you invest in a solar electric system on your house, every time electricity prices go up, that means that you're reducing your purchasing by that much, right? So number one, and we have the most financially beneficial and best managed energy efficiency program of any state in the country. For every dollar we put into it, we save $4.50. That's the Focused on Energy program. That website is focusedonenergy.org. We have this, every home and business in the state has an opportunity to engage in that program and get real efficiency benefits and rebates from our ratepayer dollars that we pay on electricity. For our solar group buy program, the way that the program works is, as I mentioned, we go to a competitive bid for contractor and we work with our stakeholder group, which includes the city of Stevens Point, to select that contractor. This year, and pretty much every year, I think every year we run this program, it's Northwind Solar, because they're a local company, very quality track record, they're worker owned, they serve this local community well, and they're most price advantageous. And so the way the program works is, once we select a contractor, we negotiate a master service agreement with the contractor that establishes the price for the program, the rebates. The more people that buy, the more rebates they give back to customers, the warranty, 10-year labor warranty, the amount of down payment that they can take, the term of the program, all of these different things with the contractor. So this program is, we have information sessions. Those are, I think, on our website at growsolar.org, also on the city website. There'll be more. We'll be doing in-person ones. We call these solar power hours. So people can learn all about the program virtually or in person at these power hours. And then you have to sign up before September 30th and to get the pricing. And the more people that sign up, the cheaper it is for everybody. And then the program also offers a free site assessment. So anybody that wants to can get a free site assessment that shows what the solar would look like on their home or business and how much it would cost and the financial performance. So the process really is this educational session, virtual and in-person, our work to select a quality contractor, and then the educational sessions and the free site assessment.
Yeah, all very cool stuff. So boiling it right down, I'm new to this. I just saw this really cool video that the mayor and Nick were doing.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in learning more about solar. I can call MREA. I can get in on one of your introductory classes, or maybe just get a few questions answered. Then what I can do is I can ask Nick to say, hey, I'm interested in getting solar on my house. What can we do? you connect me with your solar bulk buy contractor, which is Northwind.
Yep. Or go to growsolar.org. Growsolar.org is the website, and we currently have group buy programs happening we have 3 in Wisconsin. So we have Milwaukee, Central Wisconsin, Jefferson County. We have 2 in Illinois. We run a Chicagoland program, so all 5 counties in Chicago. And then 1 in Bloomington Normal, and then I think that's all we have going right now. But that website has information about all those programs.
Awesome. And we can figure out the program. We can get a site assessment done. They can tell me whether
For
solar...
free, no obligation.
For free, no obligation. Get a site assessment. They'll come in and check out my house and say, yeah, here's the energy you're using. Here's how big the solar array is. Here's where we think you can put it. Or maybe they say, well, maybe it's not quite right. My lot is 50 feet by 100 feet. I don't have any south-facing anything.
Yeah.
So it's a little more challenging for me, but not undoable.
There may be, there are, really only 25% roughly of people in the United States have a space suitable for solar. They own it and it's suitable. Yeah. Some typical things that a home or business would consider. One is your roof age, if it's going on the roof, right? So these things are modular, scalable, and have a warranty life of 25 years. So, how long is your roof going to last? You would probably want a newer roof to put on, or you're going to have to take it down. Another is, they connect to your electrical service. So if you don't have the capacity, the breaker capacity on your electrical service, you might have to get an electrical service upgrade. Your contractor will know that. And then also, interestingly, east and west facing roofs work as well. They reduce the production annually about 20%, but you just put a couple more modules on there, and it's actually having a east to south and west roof with solar on it gives you the maximum production because you're getting morning, midday, and night. And then, really kind of the last thing ends up being, the price and timeline if you have the ability to do that. I mean, it used to be that solar kind of really serviced cash buyers, like people who had cash are the ones that went solar. Mm-hmm. And now pretty much every single bank, credit union has experience financing solar. With our program, we have a partnership with a national credit union called Clean Energy Credit Union. They specialize in financing solar and electric vehicles and energy efficiency. And if you purchase a solar electric system through this program, you become automatically an MREA member, and by becoming an MREA member, you have the option to join this credit union for free and get access to their subsidized financing for these projects. So it comes with credit union financing.
There is a lot of upsides
to
this whole thing, isn't there? Right, it's amazing everybody's not doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for residents. This works for commercial and business properties as well, right?
Yeah.
Same program.
Yes, and everybody, commercial and residential property owners qualify for 30% federal investment tax credit. So that's on the federal level. And then on the state level, it's a $500 rebate from the Focus Energy program, but there's also a rural bonus, which includes a lot of central Wisconsin, which doubles that incentive from the state. And pricing's really good. We have a negotiated price. One of the advantages of bulk purchasing is that the contractors want to bid these programs because it's a bunch of sales all at once. It reduces their sales costs, it increases their efficiency, so we get really good pricing. Now is a great time to buy solar. Markets for everything are changing. I don't know if anybody really knows what trade war means, but usually what it means is more expensive stuff and it takes longer to get. That's usually what it means. And so one of the things that's interesting in our group buy program is we also have an option for American-made components. And one of the things that's happening with solar is we're seeing more and more domestic manufacture of products, and that's another thing that came out of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act is a whole myriad of incentives for domestic manufacturing of products. So, for example, if you purchase an electric vehicle, now there is domestic content requirements for the battery of that electric vehicle. So only certain vehicles now qualify for that because the battery components have to come through the United States. And we're building new battery manufacturing capacity like lightning. Same with module requirements. There's also the largest solar electric system in the Midwest is coming to Portage County. I don't know if you want to talk about that one.
We'll have to save that, I think, for another show.
But the same federal legislation has a requirement for those sites that they maintain domestic content, they pay prevailing wage, they may maintain apprenticeship ratios. And so there's a lot of, one of the real plus sides of solar is kind of the domestic jobs perspective. And so, if you invest in a solar electric system and energy efficiency, you're investing in local people and local workers and local building stock, increasing value. So we call it kind of like a Wall Street to Main Street investment strategy.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
There's a lot involved here. And honestly, I think most people just care about how can I save money?
Yep.
You've bundled that up very nicely with the bulk buy program.
Yeah.
You make your resources available at MREA, just a phone call away. You can get question answered. One of the questions that I get frequently is, solar doesn't work real well in Wisconsin. We have winter, and when the snow gets on the solar panels, they don't work. What do you tell people?
Yeah, I mean, if the context was we are going to power Wisconsin with 100% solar electricity, okay, now we got some issues, right? Because we use more electricity in the wintertime because we have a high heating load, and that's when there's less sunshine. And so, there is a point to that, thinking about kind of like getting us 100% clean energy, we need a whole mix of resources to do that and energy management technologies. But from a homeowner's perspective or a business owner's perspective, the question is, does it make financial sense? Because really it's a partnership with the utility, right? The utility power is there. What you're doing is, solar essentially functions as an energy efficiency device. You're not going to be a little solar power plant. There's no incentive to do that, to like sell electricity back to the utility. What you're really doing is offsetting your electricity use. And so you're going to produce more electricity in the summertime and produce less in the wintertime. But in that whole annual picture, does it make financial sense? Yes, it does, for the most part. You're looking at internal rates of return of around 10%. Typically, and increasing. And so if you think about a typical investment you might make as an investor, would you take a 10% internal rate of return?
10%
You
all day long.
probably would. So, that's kind of what I say when I said before, like if you're an investor and you're investing in things, this is a hedge against electricity price increases that reduces your electricity bill, increases your house value, has labor warranties, production guarantees, modular, scalable, no moving parts, pretty solid investment.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the easiest thing about it is, if you want to know more, you just call MREA.
Yeah.
Get into the solar bulk buy program. Check it out. Maybe it's worth it for you. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not.
You get to make that decision.
Absolutely.
Someone will come over, evaluate your home, tell you what you need, what you can safely and reasonably install, what your credits are. What you don't have to do any of the research. That's all been done for you through this bulk buy program and using those qualified contractors. I think that's really the beauty of the program is it's a tool in the toolbox. If you want to use it, great. We're here to help you. You want to save money? We're here to help you.
It's free education too. So, I think a lot of it is, I don't blame people for being skeptical about anything nowadays.
Yeah.
And so I think just the idea of free education, we're a very straight shooting organization. Like I said, we don't want anybody to get solar that doesn't want it because they don't make more solar customers.
Right. Well, that's great information, Nick. I want to thank you for joining us today. One more time, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so our website is midwestrenew.org. We're just outside of town, east of Stevens Point in Custer, Wisconsin. And for the Grow Solar program, that's growsolar.org. That's growsolar.org. And that's where all the information on the Group buy program.
Perfect. Once again, Nick, thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't checked out MREA, go online, check it out. Drive by their facility, stop and pay them a visit. It's a really cool location. If you've got questions about solar, get online and get your questions answered. And until next time, I'm Mayor Mike, and we've been Talking Point.
For more information about solar energy resources for your home or business, visit MidwestRenew.org, growsolar.org, or call 715-592-6595. Talking Point is produced by Mayor Mike Wiza and Stevens Point Community Media.